obeys the messenger is obeying God, and we are to obey the commandments of God, not the commandments of men. Obeying the messenger is conditioned. The Quran gives numerous examples that we must obey what Muhammad uttered as a messenger of God, and not necessarily what he uttered as a man. As a messenger, he uttered Quran, and nothing but Quran. Furthermore, the Quran teaches that Muhammad the man actually committed serious errors. Thus, in the verse shown below we see that God wished to establish a law whereby a man can marry the divorced wife of his adopted son. Muhammad was to be our example. However, this was contrary to the traditions of Arabia, and the Prophet actually feared the people instead of fearing God. You said to the one blessed by God and blessed by you, do not divorce your wife, and observe God. Thus, you hid in yourself what God wanted to declare, and you feared the people when God is the one you should fear. Then, when Muhammad's adopted son finally divorced her, we had you marry her. This was done to show that the believing men are allowed to marry the divorced wives of their adopted sons. The commands of God shall be carried out. 33. 37. Obeying the messenger is conditioned. One complete surah illustrates the fact that we are to obey Muhammad only in his Quranic utterances, and not in his personal utterances or personal behavior. This rules out the so-called hadith and the so-called sunnah as legitimate sources of religious guidance. The surah is entitled, Abasa equals he frowned, and narrates an incident where Muhammad ignored a poor blind man, and gave his full attention to a rich man.
Muhammad frowned and turned away, when the blind man came to him. How do you know, he may be saved? Or, he may heed the message and benefit from such heeding. As for the rich man, you Muhammad gave him your attention. Even though you cannot guarantee his salvation. But the one who came to you seeking salvation, and sincerely reverent, you disregarded him. Indeed, this is a reminder, for those who choose to remember. 80. 1-12. The idolization of Muhammad refusing to believe God in his repeated assertions that the Quran is complete, perfect, and shall be the only source of religious guidance, and following the conjecture known as hadith and sunnah constitutes deification of the Prophet Muhammad against his will. Say, O Muhammad, if the ocean were ink for the words of my Lord, the ocean would have run out before my Lord runs out of words, even if we supplied twice as much ink. Say, O Muhammad, I am no more than a human being like you. It has been revealed to me that your God is one God. Thus, anyone who looks forward to meeting his Lord shall lead a righteous life, and never set up any idols beside his Lord. 18. 109,110. These verses clearly inform us that God does not suffer from shortage of words, that he gave us all the words we need in this Quran, and that we should not seek the words of Muhammad, or anyone else, and that Muhammad is a man like other men, he should not be idolized. See end of verse. Quran. You shall not idolize Muhammad. There are only 2 verses in Quran that describe the Prophet Muhammad as no more than a human being like you. Is it coincidence that both verses forbid idolatry at the end of each verse? The first verse is shown on the previous page, and the second verse is shown below. Say, O Muhammad, I am no more than a human being like you. It has been revealed to me that your God is one God. Therefore, you shall observe him alone, and ask his forgiveness, and woe to the idol worshippers. 41. 6. The true believers believe their Lord in his statements that Quran is complete, perfect, fully detailed, and shall be the sole source of religious guidance. Only the idol worshippers will seek other than Quran. Following hadith and sunnah is idolization of the Prophet Muhammad against his will. The abuse of Quran. God and his angels encourage the Prophet. O you who believe, you too shall encourage him, and support him completely. 33. 56. This is by far the most abused verse in the whole Quran. Through satanic distortions, ignorance, and idol worship, this verse causes millions of Muslims to glorify the Prophet against his will, instead of glorifying God. People who sing the praises of this particular verse day and night are obviously ignorant of 2 important facts. 1. The word Nabi equals prophet when referring to the Prophet Muhammad always refers to him when he was alive, not after his death. 2. In the same surah, and 13 verses ahead of this verse, we find that God and his angels do the same honoring for all the believers. God and his angels encourage the believers to take him out of darkness into the light. 33. 43. The abuse of Quran. Verse 103 of Surah 9 further clarifies the meaning of the words ssalloo and yussallee. In this verse, we see that the Prophet is commanded to yussallee for the believers, just as they are asked to do for him in verse 56 of Surah 33. See page 20. Take, O Muhammad, a portion of their money for charity, in order to purify them and sanctify them, and encourage them. Ssallee, alayhim, for your encouragement is a consolation for them. God is hearer, omniscient. 9. 103. Thus, the true meaning of this expression is encourage, and not praise day and night as those who abuse the Quran have indicated. Summary. 1. God and his angels encourage the believers to take them out of darkness into the light. 33. 43. 2. God and his angels encourage the Prophet during his life to keep him on the right path. 33. 56. 3. The believers are asked to support the Prophet during his life. 33. 56, and the Prophet does the same for the believers. 9. 103. The abuse of Quran in the Messenger of God. You have a good example for those who are seeking God in the last day and commemorate God frequently. 33. 21. Satan used this verse to claim a special status for the idolization of Muhammad, and to convince the people of the necessity of Sunnah traditions of the Prophet. There is no doubt that the Prophet Muhammad is our best example. And his example is set by upholding Quran, and nothing but Quran. Obviously, those who fell in Satan's trap are ignorant of the fact that Abraham is described in Quran in the same words, word for word. In Abraham and those who believed with him, you have a good example, for those who are seeking God in the last day. 60. 4. 6. Does God hate Muhammad? Of course not. But when you repeat the same things that God says about Muhammad in Quran, they accuse you of hating Muhammad. Similarly, when you tell the Christians that Jesus is a human being and a messenger of God, they accuse you of hating Jesus. Muhammad cannot guide anyone. 28. 56. You Muhammad cannot guide even the ones you love. God is the one who guides whomever he wills, for he knows best those who deserve the guidance. 28. 56. The sole function of the Prophet was to deliver Quran without any alteration, addition, reduction, or explanation. Please see pages 29 to 35. The true love of Muhammad, the true love of Jesus, is to recognize him as a human and a messenger of God. The Christians love Jesus so much, yet he disowns them on the day of judgment. Matthew 7, 23 and Quran 5. 116. The true love of Muhammad is to recognize him as a human and to follow his teachings, i.e., uphold Quran and nothing but Quran. Those who follow Hadith and Sunnah are named as Muhammad's enemies, and Muhammad disowns them on the day of judgment, as we see below. On the day of judgment the messenger will say, My Lord, my people have deserted this Quran. We thus set up against every prophet enemies from among the guilty. Your Lord suffices as a guide and supporter. 25. 30 to 31. Please note the word-for-word similarity between verse 31 above, and verse 112 or Surah 6, which deals specifically with Hadith. God is the one who created you. God is the one who provides for you. God is the one who terminates your life. God is the one who resurrects you. God is the one who calls you to account. Muhammad does none of these things. See 30. 40. Muhammad does not know the future. Say, O Muhammad, I do not bring anything new that is different from any other messenger. I have no idea what may happen to me, or to you. I simply follow what is revealed to me. I am no more than a manifest warner. 46. 9. Say, O Muhammad, I possess no power to benefit or harm even myself, except in accordance with God's will, nor do I know the future. Had I known the future, I would have increased my wealth, and no harm would have afflicted me. I am no more than a warner, as well as bearer of good news for those who believe. 7. 188. Muhammad does not know the future yet. Hundreds of hadiths narrate future events that have nothing to do with Quran and represent personal predictions. One of the most prominent hadiths is shown below. You shall uphold my sunnah traditions, and the sunnah of the guided Khalifas, al-Khulafa, al-Rashidin who will come after me. It should be noted that the expression al-Khulafa, al-Rashidin did not appear in Arabic literature until 200 years after the Prophet. It is a modern expression. How did the Prophet know that there will be Khulafa, who will succeed him, and how did he know that they will be called al-Khulafa, al-Rashidin? The expression al-Khulafa, al-Rashidin refers specifically to the four Khalifas: Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, and Ali. It was not known for 2 centuries after the Prophet. The myth of intercession. Intercession is one of Satan's most effective tricks to dupe the people into idolizing their prophets and or saints. Although the Quran repeatedly states that there will be no intercession on the Day of Judgment, many Muslims were duped, through hadith and sunnah, into idolizing the Prophet Muhammad against his will, and inventing the concept of intercession shafa'a. Spend from our provisions to you before a day comes wherein there will be no trade, no nepotism, and no intercession. 254. The prophets simply follow the commandments of God. He knows their past and future. They cannot intercede except on behalf of those already saved by God. The prophets themselves worry about their own fate. 28. The deification of Muhammad, the myth of intercession. Despite the Quran's repeated assertions that Muhammad possesses no power to benefit anyone or harm anyone, see page 25 and page 30, Satan succeeded in duping many people through the concept of intercession. Satan convinced his victims that Muhammad will actually take them out of hell and admit them into heaven. Many so-called Muslims extend the concept of intercession to include numerous saints and or imams. They idolize beside God those who possess no power to harm them or benefit them, and say, "These are our intercessors at God." Say, are you informing God of something he does not know in the heavens or the earth? Glory be to him. He is much too high to have any partners. 18. The deification of Muhammad, the myth of Muhammad, the intercessor. The concept of intercession implies that God has some partners who intercede with him on behalf of people. Therefore, intercession is idol worship, and those who believe that Muhammad will intercede on behalf of anyone are idolizing the Prophet against his will. Intercession by Muhammad is prevalent in the satanic innovations known as hadith and or sunnah. The Quran clearly identifies intercession as idol worship, and declares a great criterion, that those who believe in intercession cannot stand to talk about God alone. They have to mention their idols along. Say, to God belongs all intercession. To him belongs the dominion of the heavens and the earth, then to him you will be returned. When God alone is advocated, the hearts of those who do not believe in the hereafter shrink with aversion. But when idols are mentioned along with him, they become satisfied. 39. 44-45. Muhammad will not call you to account. Your only mission, O Muhammad, is to deliver Quran, while it is we who will call them to account. 13. 40. Muhammad cannot benefit you or harm you. Say, O Muhammad, I possess no power to harm myself, or benefit myself. 10. 49. Say, O Muhammad, I possess no power to harm you, or benefit you through guiding you. 72. 21. Thus, the Prophet will not put you in paradise, nor can he take you out of hell, nor will he call you to account before him, nor can he benefit you, nor can he harm you. His sole mission was delivering Quran, and nothing but Quran. To love him and honor him is to follow Quran alone, and reject the fabrications attributed to him. Function of every messenger: you shall not worship except God. Neither Jesus, nor Muhammad, want to be idolized. Their sole function was to preach the worship of God alone. Every messenger we sent before you was instructed to preach that there is no God except me, you shall worship me alone. Then they said, God most gracious has begotten a son. Glory be to him. All the messengers are no more than honored servants. They do not speak on their own, they simply follow his commands. He knows their past and their future, and they possess no power to intercede except on behalf of those already approved by God. The messengers themselves are worried about their own fate. And, if any of them claims to be a god beside God, we will punish him in hell. We thus punish the wicked. 21. 25-29. Sole function of the Prophet: deliver Quran repeatedly. The Quran employs the double negative to emphasize that Muhammad had no function except delivering Quran. You have no duty except delivering Quran. 42. 48. Your only duty is delivering Quran, while we will call them to account. 13. 40. The messenger has no function except delivering Quran, and God knows whatever you declare, as well as whatever you conceal. Say, the good and the bad are not the same, despite the abundance of the bad. Therefore, you shall observe God, O you who possess intelligence, that you may succeed. 5. 99-100. Unfortunately, those who refuse to believe that Quran is the only source of religious guidance are much more abundant than those who believe. See also 16. 35, 82. 24, 54, 29, 18, 36, 17, and 64. 12. Muhammad does not explain, interpret, or anticipate Quran. Just deliver and follow. Hadith and Sunnah advocates claim that Hadith and Sunnah are needed to explain Quran. However, Quran teaches that God is the teacher of Quran, that God will put Quran into the hearts of believers regardless of their mother tongue, and that Muhammad will not explain Quran. Documents are shown below. God is the teacher of Quran 55. 1–2. Whether it came down in non-Arabic or Arabic, say, for those who believe, it is a guidance and healing. As for the disbelievers, they will be deaf and blind to it. 41. 44. Do not move your tongue, O Muhammad, in anticipation of Quran. It is we who put it together as a Quran. Once we recite it, you shall follow it. Then, it is we who explain it. 75. 16–19. The followers of Hadith and Sunnah do not follow their own teachings. The most authoritative books of Hadith, namely, Muslim and Ibn Hanbal, report that the Prophet ordered that no one shall take anything from him except Quran. Shown below is the Arabic text of this Hadith. Abi Sa'id al-Khudri, may God be pleased with him, reported that the Messenger of God, may God exalt him and grant him peace, had said, do not write anything from me except Quran. Anyone who wrote anything other than Quran shall erase it. Thus, a